Curiosity, citizen.
Hey, how is everyone doing? Welcome to Saturday and welcome to another Perfect Park Day. And this time I have one of my best internet friends, a member of After the Weekend, one of the founders. Here he is himself, R2theICKY, who looks like Spider Man.
Hey, how's it going?
Everything?
Sorry.
No worries.
Everything's okay. I just think something happened. Somebody was walking around the house. I think it was actually my neighbor's family member. But I'm coming to you guys from my phone today. I had a dog who had to have some surgery done, so to keep an eye on him, I'm talking in my living room instead of my office.
No worries, no worries at all. I'm trying to figure out why they changed how StreamYard looks. Because I, for some reason, don't see the chat, so I'm gonna have to have another window open to see. So, hi, Dreaming Tabitha, hi, Joker Voice, Theme Park Casual, and Mrs. to the Icky, as well as Alexandra Lee. I think you said hi first before everything gets started. I have no clue what's going on in StreamYards. But okay, it won't let me see the comments. So I'll have to keep hopping back and forth. It's weird, but that's okay.
Yeah, I don't see them either on my end. That is odd.
Yeah, I don't get it. I know. JT said he had an issue with that earlier. Like something happened, so I'm kind of curious, but that's okay. We're gonna start off with what we normally start off with who you are and what you do. So R2, who are you?
Well, I am R2, also known online as R2theICKY, and I have a channel that I co-host with two other people called After the Weekend. My two co-hosts are Maria the Geeky Crochet and JT Gunn, also known as Captain My Captain on Twitter as well. And we review mainly movies from our childhood, so 80s and 90s.
All right, so I can show that one. I can't show the other ones. I honestly I don't know why it says YouTube doesn't support comments on this video.
That's so strange. I do see that comment, but yeah, I don't see anything else.
I have no clue why, because this is a public video, but whatever. We will work through this. I will just keep popping back and forth. So let's get into the first topic as usual. As part of this stream, we have our 4 pillars of perfect parkness, which the first one's perfect park dining. Now, R2, you actually have some history with the theme parks, if I believe correct.
Yeah, I've pretty much been to on East and West Coast, at least the the big twos locations, and I've kind of I would say like the next biggest one being SeaWorld. I've been to 2 out of the 3 locations that are current with SeaWorld, but that's been quite a while since I've been there. The most recent park I was at was Universal in Hollywood 3 years ago now.
All right, so 3 years ago was the last time you were at a park. Out of curiosity, what did you eat there?
What did we eat there?
If you remember.
I'm trying to think. For those of you, if you've been there, or even if you haven't, Universal Hollywood, it's on the smaller size of a park, but they've got a big city walk next to it with a lot of food there. And I do remember getting, sorry, my dog is wanting to go right past where I have my table set up with this stand. I remember getting the giant Simpsons donut, and they do have Pink's hot dogs in the park, which are pretty good. That's one of my favorite things about going to Universal out there, but I can't really think anything, unfortunately, too specific food-wise.
I think I fixed it. I think I fixed the problem with the chat. Sorry.
No problem.
So, so you've been to East Coast and West Coast, and from my knowledge and recollection, Disneyland. Oh, there they are.
Now I see them.
I have no clue what happened. none at all. But we'll go from here because if it was a private stream, none of you would have been able to see it. So I don't get it. But we'll go. I know Disneyland specifically has better quick service than Disney World. I know this.
Yeah.
It's like a cold hard fact. So I want to ask about your Disney World experiences because I'm curious where you ate.
So Disney World, it's been 10 years since I've been there. And again, trying to think of where we ate when we were there. And the only thing that really stands out that I can truly remember because it was really good was when we ate in Epcot at the Japan Pavilion. We went and did their teppanyaki restaurant, which was super good. And, okay, yeah, I couldn't tell you the name, but that and since my wife is watching, she's gonna laugh because the chef there was somebody from Japan. He was really, really great. He was hilarious, but he's they give you sauces, right, with your food, and there's one that's typically for like your beef and your chicken, and then like another one would be for like your vegetables if you have fish or something like that. And there was a ginger sauce, and then it kind of varies because some places they'll give you like a mustard sauce. They had they call it yum yum sauce.
The white, like a white mayo based sauce.
Yeah, well, it's kind of mayo. It's kind of like ranch a little bit too. It's unique. But just when you gave it to us, it made us like we were dying, trying not to laugh out loud because he just looked at us and he's like, yum yum sauce.
I can understand that. It's definitely the weirder sauces. It's kind of mixed between a Japanese mayo and soy, and like you're saying, there's a little bit of a ranch taste to it. Oh,
I said it pretty fair. He did. He was like, yum yum sauce. Like he sounded like like I don't know. He sounded like George Takei. That's the best way to describe it. This really deep voice.
Oh my.
Yeah. I think out of all the places, like I said, it's been 10 years since we were there. So I can't remember as much about the food that was there. I remember too, it was very weird because they serve alcohol at the parks out there where, Disneyland, they don't do that. You can go get booze at California Adventure next door. But unless you're one of the lucky few that can go to Club 33, yeah, it's a dry park. And over there, you can get the. I was gonna say,
I guess it's not anymore though, because now with Galaxy's Edge there, they have alcohol inside of Oga's.
Gotcha. But like Disney World though, like you can go like walk up to a quick service and you can get a beer. I want to say
that was not always the case. So that became a thing. Like I clearly remember when that happened. It was around 98. That's when they first started introducing it into. No, Epcot always had it. Epcot, you used to be able to get a yard of beer from the Epcot from the British Pavilion, like from the UK Pavilion. You could get a yardstick full of beer. And if you've ever seen Roseanne, like the TV show, they actually show the yardstick of beer in the Britain or the UK Pavilion. They don't do that anymore because enough people are walking around drunk as is right now. They don't need someone carrying around a yardstick worth of beer. But Epcot was always had alcohol for the countries, and they had a specific reasoning as part of the culture. The first park to get it outside of that would be Hollywood Studios, where they started doing light motor action, and they took away parts of the area. And there used to be a great ice cream place that would do like egg creams and stuff, and now it's just beer. I don't know. I don't need to drink that much in the park, even though I do a lot.
Yeah, I remember riding on like the buses and even the monorail. Every time we were going into Epcot, there there's always somebody, they're like, I'm going to go drink around the world. And I'm like, it is like hot and humid. I'm like, the last thing I want to go do is drink a bunch of alcohol right now. But
R2 right now is in his panic room.
yeah, I'm in my living room to keep an eye on my dog that had surgery. So not in my office today. Well, I was gonna say, like one thing that you can get at both the parks that is pretty good. I like the turkey legs, where I feel like I'm Fred Flintstone eating like a hunk of a dinosaur. But in Disneyland, one thing that they have that they don't have in Disney World are the KC corn dogs.
They had the corn dog nuggets here, and now at Sleepy Hollow they do have corn dogs. They're not as good as Disneyland's. Disneyland's is so much better.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, that's like the wife's favorite thing. Every time we go to Disneyland, we have to get a corn dog.
Have you tried the ones at Cozy Cone yet that have the pickle around the hot dog, then the corn dog? Like it's 3 layers.
She might have had that. I don't know. Because I remember last time, yeah, we were over at California Adventure. I think we did try to get something to eat, and it was just so jam packed over in the Cars Land area. It was tough. That's I mean, I haven't been there since they opened up the Star Wars Land, but yeah, the Cars area is always booming.
The Cars ride looks so good compared to Test Track. With the dual, like the 2 cars going at once, you get a nice little sense of like a competition.
Yeah, well, I mean, the fact too that you do kind of ride through like a little story is really cool, and then yeah, you end with the race, and it's very immersive. I mean, it feels like a Disney ride. Like I love the physical animatronics that they do with it.
And, the Doc Hudson and
yeah, it's just everything that you go through, because you go through the little town. And you see a bunch of the cars and even like the big combine. I can't think of his name right now that chases after you. And then you even go into like the paint shop and they spray like water on you. And you go race around the track. And then you even kind of come back into like a cave. And it just, that it's that Disney facade feeling where, again, it's just, it's not real, but, if you let your imagination go with it, it's fun. It's make believe fun, and I love that, and I wish more of what they were making was that. And I don't like the screens. There's very few times where there's a park that does a screen where I think it works.
I will say the use of it for Rise of the Resistance, in the few areas they have the screens, they're not dramatic purposes. It's filler. So anytime there's a dramatic scene, you have an animatronic. Whenever time there's like a filler scene that's quick action, they use a screen, and I think that really plays a difference. I do want to address Joker Voice's comment about Disneyland being superior. I will say this: Disney World's guests are probably nicer. Disneyland, you got some of those that local crowd AP Disneyland stuff where there's so much like
you get the biker gangs that have their Disney club.
Like you have so much locals there. I love running into a family from the UK. I love running into a family from Germany. Just having those international guests at Disney World make the park bearable.
Well, so yeah, having been to both of them, I mean, I do really like comparing Disneyland to the Magic Kingdom. I do, for the most part, I like Disneyland more. And a lot of it, I think it comes from maybe more of the charm because it's the park that Walt built. Walt has walked through that park. Walt has had a hand in designing rides there. And I think I would almost say, maybe with exception to Haunted Mansion, everything else that the 2 parks share, I feel like the Disneyland version is better. In terms of the actual ride, Disney World, one thing I love is they've got like all the queues are so good. Like 90% of them are so
Oh,
immersive.
Tower Terrors and
Um,
Splash Mountain's queues are great.
so like a really good example is like Space Mountain. Like this queue for Space Mountain over at Magic Kingdom, it's phenomenal. I love the immersiveness. It's you have things to look at while you're waiting is like the feeling, and it's not that at Disneyland. But being a big and tall guy, I like riding the Disneyland one a lot better. It's far more smoother. If anybody can relate, I ride the Magic Kingdom one, and like my knees are hurting for an hour afterwards because I get banged around so much. I hate it. Um,
I so the comparison, because I haven't been to Disneyland, I've been to Tokyo Disney, so my comparison is different. Tokyo Disney is actually the gold star, I think, for all Disney properties, just because of I think it's more of their work ethic than anything else.
Pride that they take in
Yeah,
it.
but the thing that I think Disney World has is the blessing of size and scale, because there's a different feeling going to Disneyland, and I can say Tokyo Disneyland and Disneyland are the same thing. You still see the outside world. You still feel that presence of the outside world. You could walk out of
Um,
Disneyland and see a McDonald's.
there are well, yeah, you because you walk out. I get that, and like there are some spots if you go on like certain rides and like clearly right you can see a lot more of like an outside world. But I don't know. I still feel it's very immersive, and I comment on something Joker Voice just said. There actually is a lot of international people though visiting Disneyland. I mean, there might be more at Magic Kingdom, but there's still a good chunk of people that were clearly not from the U.S. visiting that park anytime I visited it. Um, and but you definitely see a lot more clicky locals. That's for sure. I feel like.
I
And
will also, just as a thing, since I do theme parks, the odd thing is seems like there's less Disneyland channels than there are Disney World ones. Like I can only think of two off the top of my head that are like solely Disneyland. Like
Yeah,
and
well, I was gonna say our good friend Theme Park Casual
yeah,
and Fresh Baked Disney is
yeah.
one. Um,
OG
there's an
55 does Disneyland stuff, but they're not really in the park. They're more news related.
there there's one other one. He does kind of do a little bit of both of the parks, but Offhand Disney is actually fairly Disneyland heavy too.
He does historical, like
He does
yesteryear, right?
he does yeah like yesteryear, but he does go compared to like yesteryear. Like yesteryear is just talking history. Offhand Disney will actually go to the parks from time to time when he can, and uh, so
And
yeah,
I
I'd say
will
yeah, three that I can think of.
and I will say one thing, and this is just, we all have our biases. I've been able to go to the East Coast one because it's as a lower barrier of entry for my family for the entire time we went. Flying over to California versus driving down to Disney, like it's just a thing. Everyone's going to say whatever park they were ingrained with is superior. Even if I go to Disneyland, and when I go to Disneyland, I'm still going to say, Animal Kingdom's a lot better than California Adventure. Epcot's kind of got more stuff going on. Like, it's just, we're all going to have our bias.
So I was gonna say I was born and I spent the first third or well not third first quarter of my life now. It's not third anymore. In Michigan, and growing up, I mean everything. It was always Disney World and commercials, and Disneyland was like this really far off weird thing, and it was like it's a tiny Disney park. And then I'd even lived in Texas for a few years. Same thing. It was very Disney World heavy out there. Um, and then we moved to California, and I spent, um, majority of my life, everything was Disneyland. And I remember going the first time, and it was not what I expected it to be. And, that was really more of my Disney park. Even though as a kid, it was all Disney World. Um, and, going to Disney World on my honeymoon and experience it, like Disney World as a whole, those four parks are phenomenal. Like you put them all together, you kind of can't compare because you have so many options and there's so many things to do. but like I said, if I get down to like the parks themselves, for me, I go like, I love Disneyland over the Magic Kingdom. Um, but like California Adventure, it's gotten better, but like I would never go visit that just to visit that park. But I would go to Disneyland if I could only go into Disneyland, if I could only pick one of the two parks. There's a huge difference there, I feel like. And at the same time too, like Hollywood Studios for Universal, and then the Orlando one. I mean, the Orlando one, you can't even compare it to the Hollywood one.
I think quaint would probably be the term for the Hollywood one.
Well, but at the same time too, the Hollywood one is actually on NBC Universal Studio grounds, and they've only got so much space to work with too. So I mean, they're even more so compared to like Disney. Like they have to work with what they're able to work with. But like they've got that tram tour, which is really neat because you do get to go through the studio, and you can get lucky and potentially see a celebrity. It's fairly rare, but you do get to see some things going on, which is cool. I always really enjoyed that from that park. So everything's got a pro and a con to it. But yeah, my favorite park definitely is Disneyland. I won't lie.
Just to, I'm nothing against Disneyland. Just to say one thing, I will take my cheaper ticket costs and still have the ability to do my annual pass right now. Disneyland, you can't do either of those.
Well, you're also in a position though, you live near the park. So even when I lived in California, I was in Northern California. So it's, a 6 to 7 hour drive down there. Or, you can take, you could take Southwest for like, you get lucky and sometimes get like an $80 ticket down there to go for a few days. So, you could easily get down there, but it wasn't like in my backyard. I mean, I know you drive an hour, but I'd rather drive an hour than drive
Yeah.
6 to 7 hours, or even still, you don't just get to go in the airport and hop in the plane and it's a 45-minute flight. You got to, right? You got to go there an hour ahead of time, and still you got to, then get out of the airport when you land. So it's not like it's the quickest travel.
Well, since we've already started talking more about the theme parks in general and we've gotten past the food, let's actually go into what a lot of people really go there besides me for, which is the attractions themselves. You already started to go into that a little bit. So the way I'm going to do this is, recently we've been doing first attraction, first day of your trip on that single day, last attraction you leave with.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of have like two answers with this, because for me, there was me going for myself, but now as a parent, I go for my son. And, one, it's kind of a nice, you think of all the wonderful experiences I have, but when I get to experience it through my kid, it's also a lot of fun too. So with first ride to go on is Disneyland, it's going to be Pirates of the Caribbean for me. I absolutely love that ride. It's my favorite. It was the last thing that was completed that Walt had a hand in. And, not to be mean to any fans of Magic Kingdom, but it is far more superior of a ride than the Magic Kingdom one, just because you get a little bit more out of it. But
it's okay. We get
though,
the better
again,
Splash Mountain.
The queue.
Ours is like 4 minutes longer.
The queue at, the Magic Kingdom version of Pirates. I mean, I love that one. I'm like, I wish we had that, where you kind of feel like you're going through like a stronghold or, building, where you are very much outside with the Disneyland one. But with my son, and, there'll probably be people watching that are going to groan, his absolute favorite thing to ride is Small World. So I'm with the kid. That's probably going to be the first thing that we go on. And, for all the people that hate it, at the same time, again, when you're with your kid who loves it and gets into it and gets excited, and you get to watch all that, you kind of don't care about, the annoyance of the song. You really kind of love the moment with them to see how happy they are. Yeah, I've had to ride that ride a lot, but again, to see his face when we'd go on was always worth it. Even how old he is now at 8, I'm probably pretty sure if we went to the park, he's going to be like, I want to go on Small World.
So just to throw in, R2 and I did do one of our Flick to Parks about Pirates of the Caribbean. So I'm going to link that in if you guys haven't watched it yet. It's been a while since we've done one. We'll have to get back onto that little combo thing we've been doing. But if you want to check out the Pirates of the Caribbean Flick to Park, I'll also link in the description the review part from After the Weekend too. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say we haven't reviewed any, films that have been an attraction as of late. But next time we do, we'll definitely be doing another episode.
I see a lot of parents that way, JT, at Disney. I'm not surprised. It's not a unsurprising thing.
Yeah,
especially at Disneyland, he's selfish. Okay.
Yeah. Well, at this point too, I mean, I'm not really going for myself. I'm going for my kid. But I'm lucky. I have a kid that's very fearless with the rides. Like he wants to go on everything. The last time we went, he wanted to go onto the Matterhorn, and me being a big guy, my son is big for his age. Even though he's 8, he's probably the size of a 10-year-old, and I think he was big enough to go onto the Matterhorn. And I probably would have let him do it if they still had the older style cars where it was actually like a 2-seater, so you sat in it and somebody could sit in front of you. But they're all individual now, and so he just, even though he was big, he was so small, and I'm like, his head's gonna be jerking around. He got so mad at me though that I would not let him go onto that ride. It was funny having a 5-year-old get angry at you. Or no, I think he was 4. Yeah, he was
that is a theme park experience, though. The temper tantrum is part of it. That is part of the.
He didn't throw a temper tantrum, but he was just like, as a 4-year-old though, he was like, Dad won't let me go on that ride. I'm big enough.
So that means Matterhorn's sort of more like our Space Mountain in terms of car style.
I think it was, and it is kind of like the single file style of a car. But for a long time they were, I think up until like maybe the 2000s when they got rid of it, they were like a 2-seater, and so you sat together. I think they each had their own seatbelt, but like the person in front of you would like lay back into you. It was kind of like the date ride car,
You're spooning while driving, while riding.
Yeah, it was always a good ride to go on if you were on a date. Or it could be a little awkward.
Yeah.
Depending
Don't get too excited. So we have
those are the first 2.
What would be your last? So like the last day of your trip, or the last ride of the day that you have to get on. Like, what is it?
Is it wrong to say those 2 rides? Because that's probably what we would do before we would leave.
Circle back and do the same ones again.
We would almost do that, guaranteed. I mean, outside of it's also though too kind of a little bit of like, if for some weird reason it's a 2-hour ride to get on to Pirates, right? I would be like, okay, what's got a short line, and go on that. Because there's a couple other rides that they have that I really enjoy. The Indiana Jones ride's a lot of fun. I love the Matterhorn too. That's another very iconic ride. And even I would say like I do like Haunted Mansion, but it's never one like it's got to be the first. Like I got to go get on that, or I don't.
I do find it interesting that you are not bound by what's inside the park for this. You can pick any of the rides at any of the parks.
At any of the parks? Okay, I guess I'm just thinking of Disneyland. Okay, so the other parks.
So like Universal, whatever it is, like you can pick whatever. Like this is not bound by the laws of physics.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's just so many rides that I do like to go on. Now this is tough. Now I got so many choices.
Oh,
I was trying to
this is a good
think.
question from Tabitha. What is your least favorite?
My least favorite ride. It's not there anymore. It was actually the Dueling Dragons ride at the Harry Potter Land in Orlando,
Is that
and
because of height?
it was two reasons. Not necessarily height, but I remember we got on it. We ended up sitting in the front, and we get on it, and everybody's getting on it, and then they're like, shoulder things go over, click, 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 and it gets to me, and it goes click, and I was like, crap. So I've got, like everybody's got multiple clicks. I got one click. I was like, oh man, that freaked me out. And then it's the only time I think I've ever gotten sick on a roller coaster.
Was Dueling Dragons?
It was Dueling Dragons. Also, to be fair though, too, like before we went on it, we drank butter beer because we were like, let's get a butter beer, and we're waiting in line, and we drank that. And I don't know if it was all like the sugar, but yeah, I got sick on that ride too. So that was probably like the one time where I'm like, I'm never going on that thing again.
Well, it doesn't exist anymore, so you're fine.
I know it's gone. I know it's gone, but that's that. Out of anything I can think of, like a major theme park, that would be my least favorite ride. But yeah, I feel bad saying this. I can't say there's it's easy to say the first thing, but for me, like really thinking of like the last thing, I don't know. I could almost do anything. It's more of a like, what's got the shortest wait?
So practical.
I am. I mean, again, outside of like if it's me and I'm purely deciding, I'm like, whatever's just got the easiest line, I'll go on it. Like, I don't care. Like, even if it was like the safari ride at Animal Kingdom, even though that's like a 40-minute ride, if it had a 10-minute wait and we got one more time to do one more thing, I'd be like, let's go on that. But yeah, it's with my kid, it's going to be probably It's a Small World. We're there together, so it'd be the first thing and the last thing.
Just from a Disney World perspective, once the train comes back, that's my Practicality last ride, because you can get you from Frontierland or Fantasyland back to the front of the park. So like if you're back in like getting on Space Mountain and you want to get back to the front of the park without walking through, you can just go walk over like 5 feet and get on the train and go around back to the front. So it's a practical reason. If you are done for the day and you start that like chafing in the thighs or something like that, and you're done walking, like the railroad is a wonderful blessing. I'm just saying.
Deodorant. You put deodorant between your thighs, FYI. Speed stick.
Friction block is your friend.
Yeah. I haven't been on the train at Magic Kingdom, but Disneyland, have been on it a ton.
I should share naps places, because there's actually a lot of places to take a nap.
Well, first time we took somebody on It's a Small World, he fell asleep in the line, and we could not get him to wake up until the end. Like, we got out, and he woke up, and he's like, "What's going on? Why am I on a boat?" The train though at Disneyland is real cool. Just because there's a section of it you go through the primeval diorama, and
okay.
There's at the very end of it, there's the dinosaurs that actually, they kind of were the inspiration for the dinosaurs that used to be at Universe of Energy, that diorama. And that's something else too. I missed that. I loved that diorama. I could care less about Ellen, but riding through that diorama. Dinosaur. Yeah, I mean, I loved dinosaurs as a kid, so that was always very, very cool. Hey, Phil. Nice
What's
to
up,
see you.
Phil? I will say this. I'm worried because they announced that they're going to do the expansion behind Big Thunder Mountain in Disney World, and that's where the train would go through like the Native American scenes, as well as the riverboat. That's what's behind Big Thunder Mountain. So they're going to take all of that like original 1970s stuff that hasn't been touched yet, and just get rid of all that. But I will say, I'll ask one other question because you've been to both. what is something that Disney World has that you'd want to bring to Disneyland?
That is a good question.
I stumped him.
I know you did, because I'm really trying to think hard. Like, what's over there? I mean, the one thing that I could kind of say that they don't have that I do wish that they had, and I think some of it too is like just more of aesthetics, because when you look at the castle and then to the right you see it is a Matterhorn. Now, Animal Kingdom does have Expedition Everest. That's kind of, or Florida's version of the Matterhorn. But not seeing that in that park, I always feel like that area just seems so bare. But
The Revolution. Oh, he wants. JT wants Sleepy Hollow. He wants all the.
okay.
Oh, you guys don't have that in
No,
between Frontier and.
you can meet. You get to meet President Lincoln. They do that, but we don't have the Hall of Presidents in Disneyland.
Oh, did Jane Theory pop in? I'm getting Hi Jane. I don't know where. Okay, I know I'm here for Jane. All right. So that's an interesting one. I would have thought you would have went with like Carousel Progress to have like another Walt attraction.
Well, you said from Disneyland to Disney World, or again, does it flip
Disney World
either way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because there's definitely things opposite where I'm like, I wish that could be there, and it would probably be a toss-up between Carousel Progress or for them to finally fix the People Mover.
I think the height issue on the People Mover for you guys is part of the issue. Because when the People Mover are much lower.
It was rocket rods. They were like, People Mover's slow and boring, so we're going to put this rocket rods ride in, and then that caused damage to everything. And they've never fixed it. And, again, People Mover, right, there's nothing crazy that happens, but it's kind of just a nice thing to sit in and relax. And, again, too, like you kind of, I love like the People Mover kind of goes through a couple of rides too there, like that diorama that you see of like Space Mountain, and you actually go through, you can kind of see everybody in the queue in Space Mountain. Like I love that stuff. Carousel of Progress, even though it's so dated, it's just, I love like the animatronics. That's just such a Disney.
They changed the face on the guy at the end.
Oh, really?
They changed it looks so bad. They changed the entire face sculpt on the Final Family for the father. It looks like it looks so bad now.
That's a bummer. Because even too, like Spaceship Earth, that's another one I love riding in that. I know it's not an exciting ride, but there's just something cool about it. And again, like I think about that ride as a kid, and just it seems so futuristic too with all the animatronics. I miss Horizons. God, I wish Horizons was still there.
Oh, everyone wishes Horizons was still a thing. I mean, I would take Mr. Toad and Who Framed Roger Rabbit from you guys in a heartbeat and bring him over here and get rid of Winnie the Pooh and Peter Pan. Peter Pan, I think, is overrated.
Yeah, I mean, it's that area with those kids rides, like they're neat, but in Disneyland, there's like this overrated hype of Peter Pan, and it's like constantly like jam packed. Like you have to go on there like right away if you want to try and get into that ride. And it, again, like to take your young kid on it, and it's so like there's a lot of color going on with the way they light it with the black light now, and everything just pops. It looks amazing, but it's definitely nothing special either. That's for sure.
All right, so we've gone through the attractions. We've actually gotten a good amount of conversation on the attraction, and we're up to the thing that costs people more money. JT overrated. I hate both of you. All right,
I hate it. I don't get why everybody's like. It
shouldn't be a 90-minute wait. It should not be a 90-minute wait, and that's what it is consistently. even getting a lightning lane or the old fast pass for it was an impossibility sometimes because everyone went over there because it's not worth the wait they have for it. It's Roger Rabbit, Nemo's dad, and the Seagulls, and every Splash Mountain, all voiced by the same act. Oh wow! I didn't know Roger Rabbit also did. Guy's talented. Too bad all of his stuff is going to be going away pretty much. I feel bad. So we're up to the third pillar, which is merchandising, where I spent a lot of money. So I have a simple question: like the one thing you'd be upset leaving without, like a something. Now I know you're going to be different. It might be something for the kid, whatever. What would be the one thing that you're going to be like, yeah, if I left, I'd be thinking about it and have that FOMO or regret?
In all honesty, like there's not really like a lot of like Disneyland merch that I have or have collected. I was actually trying to find it and I couldn't find it. I have this book that Magic Kingdom put out, I think in '85. It was like for the 5th anniversary of Epcot that they did. It was like a whole book about the park, and there was only 2. Like I love that they did that. I wish Disney did more of that. And now that I'm thinking of it too,
'85.
Yeah, they put it out. They put it out in 1985, or maybe it was '87. I'm sorry, right?
'85 would be the 3rd anniversary.
Okay, I'm thinking I thought it opened in '80 for some reason. Okay, it was '87 then. It was the 5th year anniversary. I do know that, and then I think they did like a 10th anniversary book. It's white. I've never seen.
I have that 10th anniversary one.
Okay, I had the 5th one, but like I wish Disney did more books like that about the park. Like I love stuff like that. Another thing I have, I should have taken a picture of it to so you could show it. Like I love Disney maps, and I've got for Disneyland, I've got the 50th anniversary. They made a puzzle. I've got it hanging in my hallway going up into my office, and I wish they did that. Like if they had made more puzzle maps, I think I would buy more of them, or even just like as posters. I think those are cool to see all that. I've actually got 2 other ones that are in the shape of, they're the Mickey ears, and they kind of cover both parks and everything that they have. Too, like I don't know, I kind of like that type of stuff. But now I think, if I knew I was going to go to the park for myself, the one thing that I really want to do is build a droid.
What type of droid? Would it be an R2?
I would build an astromech droid. I would do an R2. I don't know. I don't think I would actually build it to look like R2 because I know you can order those. I would want to make it be unique.
You can make it an R4.
And but I would love to build a droid. I think that would just be fun to do. And it's as cool as the lightsabers are, and I know you're a big collector of lightsabers, but like that's like a far tougher thing I feel like to display, where like the droid's kind of a nice small size, so like if you were not messing with it, you can easily put it on a shelf and display it. I think that's what I would probably do today, where I'm like, I don't think I could go visit and not bring one of those home and do that experience.
I do have to share, because you brought up droids, and this is kind of the funniest one that I'm surprised they made it. It's kind of funny. Let me one second, share screen. Chrome tab. All right, so they actually came out with a 50th anniversary for Walt Disney World R2 unit. So it's got the color scheme and everything for the 50th anniversary. That is like a cool. pre-built one.
For the price of that, that's actually not bad.
You do know it's like this big. It's not a big giant droid.
No, I realize that. I mean, yeah. But that's the droid shop droid anyways. They're they're not that big, but
I actually think the coloring works better on the droid than the castle.
Yeah, I actually do. I kind of like the gold on it with the blue. That actually looks really, really neat. Yeah, that's cool. I had no idea that they had that. Again, though, but at the same time, too, it's like I look at that, I'm like, that'd be cool to get. I really like that. But it's also that experience of going in there and getting to pick that stuff and build it. And again, too, I'm sure if I did that, my son would want to build one. So to build one with him, that would be fun too. Um, and I've watched the videos when they make the lightsabers. I do think that's a neat experience. But yeah, I don't know if I would do it though. Mainly just because I'm like, I would get it out like every now and then, but I don't know. I just wouldn't do anything with it. The droid, I would play with it though. I'd drive it around my house.
So I do have a trip planned for March for my birthday. I think that I'm finally going to do the droid building. I'll try to do it during a live stream. I haven't
cool.
done that yet. That's the one thing I have not. I've done the lightsaber, the custom lightsaber. I haven't done the droid. I've been waiting to hope they do a different droid. I wanted a BD1. I wanted the Chicken Walker droid from Fallen Order. I was hoping they would at some point get that in there because I just thought that was a cool droid. But I guess I'm going to have to bite the bullet and pick one of the two and do it now. It's only, I think it's $100-something bucks. So it's not too bad in terms of an experience thing and all that. But the kids love it. They even have a little area that has like a rubber mat outside for you to fight each other with the droids.
That's cool. Well, and that's kind of the other thing for the price too. It's like I would rather, instead of just buying one made, because I've even seen some of those, like Target carries some. They've got like little Disney stores inside of them where they'll sell them. But I'm like, part of that price is like, again, it's getting to do the experience and going to the droid shop and seeing all the stuff on the walls and getting to pick out your
personality
colors. It's like, yeah, and you get to do the personality chips. It's like I would want all of that. I mean, you're kind of getting robbed buying it outside of the park. But again, if you're just not able to go, it's a nice option and it's better than nothing. But I'll get there one day and do that. I was gonna say for Star Wars, the one droid I want to see them bring to the park, they'll never do it, but I think they need to bring HK-47 to the park. I just want to see somebody dressed up as that and calling the guests meat bags.
I honestly, isn't worth the price. All right, so I will say this: there are certain ones that I think actually are really nice. The Cowcast one, the non-built, but the Cowcast hilt and everything like that. This is a heavy piece of machinery right here. That's like all solid metal. This is not like you could bash someone badly with this.
Somebody's gonna break into Tom's house. He's like, I'm armed with a lightsaber.
I know that Ultra Sabers has better pricing depending on what you're getting. Because I remember I bought an Ultra Saber, it was like $500. This was $200. Right? This still lights up. Like you're looking at a big price difference between the 500. Now you do get the NeoPixel, you get the colors and everything like that. But I also am not getting the ability to say, oh, something happened to this. I can literally walk to the theme park and say, I want a new one. I'll have to order from Ultra Sabers. It won't be the same warranty and stuff.
Well, and again, too, the whole experience you go through when you build it. I mean, if you're a big Star Wars fan, I could see that being a lot of fun. Again, you get to pick all your bits of how you're going to build it, and then you get to pick out the color you want to do. And then, at the end, right, you see everybody and they fire up their lightsaber. It's neat. I'm not a big enough Star Wars fan where I would go spend the money on that, but again, anybody that is, I could see that being worth doing it once, right? I wouldn't go do it every time, to do it once. I think it would be worth it. But again, that's where I go. I want to build a droid because I'm like, to me, I look at that and I'm like, I would play with that a ton. I would have a blast with it.
I always actually have BB-8 on my desk next to me. It's the little Sphero one though. I got this for like $30 when they went like it was like what 180 when they came out, and then 2 years later, it was like nothing.
I mean, I think those are neat, but I'm like, it's a soccer ball. I'm like, I don't know. There's something slightly not fun about that.
Also, they have less accessories. You can't get the drinks tray that R2 goes around.
Yeah. It's just There's a lot less personality to it, I guess, is the best way to describe it. Plus, I would be too worried that somebody is gonna mistake it for a ball and then just kick the snot out of it.
Also, the R2 would be a lot more on brand for you.
Yeah. Well.
You spent $300. It wasn't $300 for me to get the lights. The one that I got, I mean, this was the most expensive one, but there were two of them, and that came out to $400. Normally, it's around $200 for the Savi's experience. I'm confused. Are you talking about Disney? Is Disneyland's more expensive?
Maybe. I thought they were both $200 to do it.
Yeah, so that's why I'm just wondering. Unless he means his Ultra Saber, like he couldn't justify an Ultra Saber.
No, I think he's implying the park, but.
All right. You're implying. Okay. All right. So we talked merchandise, we talked food, and we're up to the final thing. And then I find this fun, and this is where the theme park and amusement park thing separates, and that is the entertainment, the characters, the shows, the people that elevate it outside of being just a Six Flags. So my question is, do you have any, like, what would be the character you'd want to get a photo with? What would be a show you'd want to see? Kind of curious.
I mean, I'll be honest, like going to the parks, like never really ever watch shows other than sometimes like if I, like, what is it? The docking bay area over in Tomorrowland, like you'd watch like the kids hanging out with Chewbacca or Darth Vader. I can't really think of too many shows I have watched. For me, it's all about going to the rides, and
So no picture
same
with
thing.
Chewie?
Like characters, like I never want to go get a picture with a character with a kid. We'll take him to meet Mickey and Winnie the Pooh and that's always fun and seeing his, the look on his face with that experience. But yeah, when I was little, I mean, I loved the characters. But when I was little too, that was back when like they just walked around the park. You didn't have to go to an area to meet them. So.
So no big hug with Mickey, nothing like that. You're just gonna.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just not a big thing for me, and it doesn't like ruin anything by not doing it. And it's not like I'm like I hate it. To me, I would rather I just want to go on rides when I'm there. That's that's the experience that I want.
So you're hoping for the people to go and wait their time on the show so you have less lines on the ride.
Yeah, for me, because that's the way I look at it. Because if they're doing that, then that lets me get on a ride. But we will, like I said, with the kid likes to meet the characters, so we'll go take him to meet them, kind of, when and where we're able to, depending on what's going on in the area. In shows too, I want to say like I don't like when I think about it, like I can't remember saying that there's a lot of like shows at Disneyland. I feel like there's more of that at Disney World. Maybe I'm wrong, and again, maybe I just don't pay attention to that.
Well, even like Paint the Night or any of the fireworks at the end, like or any of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, kind of just depending on how the day went. Like if we're there in the park at night and the fireworks go off, yeah, we'll watch the fireworks for sure. But I've been there too where we've left before that happened just because we're tired or we're hungry and just want to get back to the hotel. But yeah, that's never been like a big thing where I'm like, oh, I got to go watch a show. And I'm trying to think. There's like nothing that really comes to mind that I've seen where I'm like, that was great. I guess the only thing I could really think of that comes to mind is the Tiki Room. I guess that's a show, right?
Yes, the Tiki Room is a show. I will say there's one thing that I will say, just a personal thing, was, oh, rolling chairs, what's up? Hey. There's one thing that will forever be my favorite thing that I was able to do at Disney parks. And it's something that I laud over my brother forever now. But before the pandemic, right before the end, I'm going to share this just because I love the fact that I got to be part. Now, there is a show here that involves a certain character that with a whip, right?
Catwoman.
I finally got called up after 25 years of asking to go and be on this, and it was honestly, it was my favorite thing I ever got to do. There I am. I have my little Jedi little cloak thing on. It was a little bit thinner back then. I have to get back to that, but I'm gonna mute this. So, luckily, I had someone with me to record. So
Wait. So you're not in a bathrobe in that video?
no, it's like a little shawl thing. I made my lightsaber the same day, so I did the lightsaber thing. This was January of 2020, before things went down, and this was my favorite thing because you can't do it anymore. It's done. No more audience participation. You can't get called in like that. So I still like Indiana Jones show. I was there the other day, but this is what things used to be awesome. Being able to be part of that, and I wish I would come back. But Hoop to Do Review is also really cool. I'm gonna agree with that. Rolling chairs. It's a great meal too. Oh yeah, that was like the ultimate experience. I wish I had when I did the Catastrophe Canyon, because I was also called in for that before that shut down. 25 years of training. I admire your dedication. Yes, I trained a lot to laugh. That's all I had to do. But I just wanted to share that because I always love sharing that. That's like that was a height of Disney for me. And people still, and I actually am now friends with the mechanic in the show, the German mechanic. He's a friend of mine, so it's kind of
not a real mechanic for the show.
No, he's the guy who plays the German mechanic.
I thought maybe it was somebody who like worked on the show, and like that's technically what he was. I'm like, well, they do have a car on there, so yeah, okay.
When I was
you mean an actor?
Yeah.
For sure.
When I was 7, I walked onto the thing in the middle of it without like I just literally jumped over the little wall and walked in. Like, I'm gonna be part of this. But we weren't kicked out that day, thankfully. I'm just saying we weren't.
I just imagine you in the crowd. Pick me. Yeah, pushing some little kid down.
At that point, there was like about 12 people in the show because it was January and everyone was in Galaxy's Edge. So I think that's the only reason why I got picked. But yes, we all missed the Great Movie Ride. I prefer.
Yeah, that's another one too. That like Great Movie Ride. I hate that that's gone.
That had great cast members, and that the way they would interact with you. I think there's like all the stuff they're doing is bring some of the like humanity away from the parks. And that's one of the things I think is sad.
I always loved it too because of Alien. I'm like, I loved the part of Alien.
I remember my dad saying, "Why isn't it the scene with her in the underwear?" That's like the first thing my dad said. It's like we're going through. It's like, this isn't the scene I care about.
Your dad's like, "Why isn't she more naked?"
Hey man, he had every time they came out with a "We Want the Reddit" shirt, he had it. He has like there was like every single version. It's so different. Yeah, I miss the Earful Tower. I miss the they used to have the water tower in the back. That was an iconic, like that was the logo for Hollywood studios for a while. Now they're actually using Tower of Terror and the marketing. I actually have something. Wait 1 second. I'll be right back.
Actually, too, now that I think about it, it's another ride that I don't like that they still have. And I don't like it because I am not a fan of heights. But like if I feel secure, I'm fine. I do not feel secure in this ride. Is Soarin'. I do not like Soarin' at all. And my kid loves that ride, and he like is always like trying to sit forward and look down. It freaks me out. I'm always pushing him to sit back.
So they have. Cool. They're releasing for each of the parks their icon with a gold Mickey. So Magic Kingdom was Cinderella's Castle. Hollywood Studios was the next one to come out, which is the Tower of Terror. Then there'll be one for Spaceship Earth and one for the Tree of Life.
I do have a Harold the Yeti riding a Matterhorn car. I did want the Harold the Yeti pop, and you could not find him anywhere. I had family that was going. I'm like, look for this for me. Couldn't find it. I always wanted that one. That's cool.
Sorry, Soaring Around the World in Epcot is terrible because they messed up the footage. So if you don't sit in the center, it curves.
No, I was saying though that's a ride that I don't like to go on, and I have to go on it every time because everybody else loves it. And like I, without fail, I'm always on like the highest point, and I feel like those seats too. Like again, I feel like they're like only like that wide, and like I feel like I'm going to fall off. I hate
did
soaring.
you did you do flights of passage when you were here? Was that open?
That was not open yet. They were
Okay.
working on that. Which it's funny. I had no idea that they were going to do an Avatar Land going to Disney World, and I remember going to Animal Kingdom being like, that tree makes me think of Avatar, and then I found out that they were going to do Avatar there. I was like, oh, that's fitting, even though that tree has nothing to do with it.
Well, yeah, but Joe Rody and James Cameron kind of have a similar design aesthetic in terms of Joe Rody was the Imagineer that was the mainstay behind Animal Kingdom and the Animal Kingdom Lodge with the big earring dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I dislike both versions equally. Yeah, I have a good friend back in California that's a huge Disney fan. His whole family. His they were showing me like pictures. One of his daughters got to meet Joe Rody, and she got his book signed by him and was showing that off. They have a lot of cool stuff in their house that they've collected. They've got, if you've ever seen them, like I didn't know that they did this, but like, or at least they used to. Disney would make like collectors tickets that were themed to like certain rides, and he had like Indiana Jones, and he had
Oh,
like a haunted mansion one. It was like really really cool, and he had a complete ticket book for when Disneyland used to do the tickets.
that's I have to find it. I do have my dad's opening day Disney World ticket from '71. I have to find
Cool.
that. I will not get rid of that. Is ticket number like 5? Oh, did R2
That
leave?
frame. Sorry, somebody just called me. I couldn't figure out how to turn my do not disturb
No, no,
off on here.
it's okay. As for favorite Disney
Yeah, how do
resorts,
you not have your dad's ticket framed on your wall,
it's in a safe.
encased in fire resistant glass?
And I'll just right now it's in a safe in my closet with a bunch of other more valuable stuff. But favorite Disney resort, I can actually answer. Well, okay, I've stayed on 14 of them. Um, so I've stayed at a lot.
You say it so casually. Hey, yeah, I've been to 14 of them, so
Even some that aren't vacation club. First resort was Caribbean Beach. I stayed at Port Orleans before buying into the vacation club way back in '91. But my favorite, I have two: Animal Kingdom Lodge. Great food. You have the animals there. It
I have
doesn't
stayed
feel
there.
it doesn't feel like you're in Disney. Like you feel somewhere else. And then Old Key West, because that's the home resort, like my home resort. It is such a wonderful place to stay to relax. It's like you have your own little house. You have a porch. You have like it. You have your full kitchen. You can get up to a grand villa with like 4 beds, 4 baths. Like it is just like living in a vacation home. That feeling and like the it's a different type of resort. People have a very big affinity for it. If you're a vacation club, it's a badge of honor to be there and have that as your home resort. So OQS will definitely be ones that if I'm bringing people down, that's the place I'm going to book a room into, and we're staying there because it's the thing that's the most non-Disney. Like it just seems like you're in an awesome house in the Keys.
Yeah, I've been to the Animal Kingdom because that's where we stayed for our honeymoon, and yeah, it was really cool. I think we technically they call it a villa. It's still just a hotel room, but I mean it was cool because it had like a full kitchen in it, and then they had like the kitchen was full of stuff for you to like use if you wanted to like make food, which I thought was really really neat. And it had a washer and dryer, so you didn't have to pack a bunch of stuff. You
Wait,
could.
were you? So you were? Did you remember which one? Were you in Kidani or Jambo?
Um, of the two of them, which one is further west?
further west, closer to Magic Kingdom with
It's the one
Jumbo.
that it's well because there's two buildings, right? I mean, if you looked at them on
There,
a map,
there's two separate. One's the
yeah.
technically the vacation club, and one of them is the hotel side.
What and they have two different shapes too, because like the one is like shaped like a W. I want to say, right?
Yeah,
That's the one we
Kidani.
stayed at. Yeah, we stayed at Kidani.
That has the Na in it, where Jumbo has Jico and Boma and the Mara. Those are the three restaurants.
Okay. Yeah, we were at the Kidani house, and then I've stayed at the three Disneyland hotels, and out of the three, I would say the Grand Californian's is the best one. I mean, it's the nicest one. Plus, I love the character breakfast at that one. French toast is awesome. I do like doing that in terms of entertainment. I like the character breakfast, but again, that has more to do with the kiddo.
Just to bring up, I do love Contemporary also. I prefer Contemporary to Bay Lake Tower, just because it's the original. But Polynesian would be my go-to monorail resort recommendation. I like the food. I like the entertainment, the bar, and R2 knows the infamous stream that was from that place.
Yeah.
That will. I didn't know how many people actually saw that, but
The tree touched me.
I forgot you had control of that too.
Yeah.
I do like Contemporary though, and Steakhouse 71 is a very nice place to eat, and so is California Grill. As for Disneyland, I do look forward to doing Grand Californian. If I can get a 7-month window booking for Vacation Club points, because I like Wilderness Lodge also, as Theme Park Casual brought up. I do like Wilderness Lodge. The Copper Creek side that they built up is so nice. And as for Coronado Springs, the Grand Destino Tower that they just opened up there a few years ago, so gorgeous for a moderate and so well priced.
And give me 1 sec. I'll be right back, guys.
No problem. All right, so let's go and check with the chat for a second. You're going to try and get into the Polynesian next year. I can only maybe go once a year because, well, that makes sense. Yeah, my family would travel twice a year, but that's because we were a vacation club and we wanted to get 2 trips on our annual pass, so it would break out the price. But yeah, I get that. Polynesian is great. The new tower studio, 2 new DVCs should be done, I think 2025. But man, there's something about those rooms and something about that resort in general. It just has such a chill vibe. The Dole Whip, the Trader Sam's. I love Trader Sam's. Joker Voice would like that. Good old bar at Trader Sam's. I'm gonna have to hit Trader Sam's in Tiki Terrace or whatever it's called in California. Is that in the Disneyland Hotel or is that in the park?
I want to say I could have swore Trader Sam's is in the park in Disneyland.
Okay. Because I don't know how that works then, because you said they don't serve alcohol. Maybe it's the Disneyland Hotel. I'm curious.
Yeah, I can't remember. Well, I think there's a Trader Sam's in the park. It might be because I want to say that's more of like a gift shop, really. And then there's like a little across from the walkway. There's also like a little fruit snack stand.
So
I could be wrong.
Trader Sam's, it's part of the Disneyland Hotel, the Enchanted Tiki Bar.
I could have swore though that was the name of the gift shop though at the park too. Maybe I'm just thinking wrong. So.
All right. So since we're past an hour, which is thank you. You've been our longest stream. I do want to ask if you have any special memories before we leave off, like a perfect park memory. Do you have any ones?
I certainly don't have one. I've got a lot of just fond memories of visiting the park. That's for sure. I mean, I think of being, little and kind of what I can remember of going to Magic Kingdom for the first time. I think of the first time I got to go visit Disneyland. There was one time, this was probably 15 years ago now. I was around 25, but my dad took me for 2 days, as like a surprise. And, you know, it just going with my dad to the park for 2 days, like I love that memory of that. And it was so much fun to do, even at that age. I always kind of gave him grief because he, like the whole family would go to Disneyland. My family, we had a business, and without fail, because I wasn't married, I didn't have any kids at the time. I always had to stay behind and run the family business. And so, yeah, because I think I always made a lot of comments of like, I never get to go with you guys. He surprised me and did that. And then, like taking my son for the first time, was a magical thing. And just seeing his eyes light up to everything. And even the last time we took him to a theme park, again, it's always just, it's a blast to see how much fun he has. And, I'm lucky in the fact that he loves it all and he just wants to go outside of there, he's like, carry me. And so he's a big kid. I'm like, can't carry you.
That's a thing now. You see a lot of people with those wagons and like their 8-year-olds or 9-year-olds in a wagon. That was not my parents' style, man. By 5, we were walking everywhere.
Yeah. Well, last time he went, he was 5, and he was at like the limit. We could actually still put him in a stroller. We were like, all right, we'll do it. But yeah, I mean, he couldn't now, and yeah, next time we go, he's going to be walking himself. So,
well, those are some nice memories, and thank you for your time.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah,
I love talking about theme parks.
As for the next Perfect Park Day, I'm reaching out. I think it's supposed to be Ashton the Slytherin. I will double check. But besides that, I will be doing a first for my channel review stream on Tuesday with Ashton herself for Hocus Pocus 2. God help me. Besides that, I don't know, but I will say thank you guys all for enjoying this. I hope it was helpful in some ways to some people. And don't be afraid to be the fool. And later, everyone. Bye.
Bye.